Oh,
a little
wow.
baby chick.
How in the world?
We don't know how it got there, what. So of course she took it in, got a red light, and we have a friend that lives out in the country, Barbara White's,
Okay.
and she's keeping it alive.
Unreal.
Isn't that crazy? Where
How
would
in
a
the
baby
world
chicken?
in Bent Tree subdivision?
Yeah, and
did a
and it
baby
was
chick?
under because it was warm under the grill.
Wow.
So how do you take your coffee?
Well, I like mine black with cream, as long as the cream's really sweet.
Okay,
If
like
the cream's
maple
not
syrup.
really, that's right. Maple syrup would be a great accompaniment there.
Lee Blythe, you are the owner of Federal Grove in Auburn, Kentucky, and we are in this historic space right now. You're a young guy with a young family. Why do you want to preserve history in this way?
Well, I just think it's a really neat thread of the community here that we've kind of revived. This is an old piece of history that everyone had kind of forgotten about. It was just the old house at the edge of town and a little discovery, and we realized that we've got a real living piece of history here that was worth saving and preserving. At first, just for business reasons, but later we discovered real authentic history from the Clarks.
I want to talk
on.
about that. Okay, so it's called Federal Grove.
Yes.
And it's a bed and breakfast, and
That's
now
right.
it's a restaurant. Over the years, it has emerged.
Yes.
But when you did so you were going to name it.
Yes.
And your mom, who you were in
Yes.
business with, came up with a name.
She did. She just said Federal Grove, a beautiful name. There was a story that was pitched around that there used to be a settlement called Federal Grove at the edge of town, and she just said, that sounds great. We're going to call our bed and breakfast Federal Grove. About 4 years passes, and I put in a Yahoo search for the pre-Google era. And Yahoo pulled up at that time, a lot of public records pulled up Eleanor Temple's will, and it referred to her farm in Logan County called Federal Grove. But we went on a rampant digging of history there and uncovered the fact that we are actually sitting on that property. So
And so it was just like it was fated
yeah,
to be called
it
Federal Grove.
really was.
You mentioned the Clarks.
Yes.
Yes, historic
So
connection.
Jonathan Clark, the eldest brother of the Clarks, middle brother was George Rogers, youngest brother William Clark of the Lewis and Clark expedition. Our Clark, Jonathan, we like him a little better than the other two guys, but Jonathan took this as his first 1,700 acres of a 10,000 acre federal land grant in 1785. Had to be taken west of the Green River in Kentucky, and so he followed the Gasper River back to what he called the headwaters of the Gasper River, and took 1,700 acres, plotted it off, and left. 20 years later, his daughter shows up, Eleanor, and she has been given 1,700 acres to start her family with. So, pretty cool start.
That's a
Yeah,
very cool
it is,
start.
yeah.
So this place really is phenomenal. It's beautiful. Do you have any ghosts?
Well, ironically, I had a gentleman here one time that was DJing, and he did say he thought he heard someone speak to him in his ear in the barn. Now, I've been here for 28 years, and I've never heard a ghost or seen one, but others say they have, so we'll leave that open. So.
But you know, people come here because of its charm, because of its history, and so you've made it into a bed and breakfast for starters.
Sure, right.
Yeah, and then that proved to be successful.
It did. The bed and breakfast was a natural. You know, there weren't a lot of those in that era, the early '90s. That was kind of when that was sort of blossoming in our region. But over time, we started the food service and had some special events here and planned dining, and that rolled into about probably 2008, 2009. We opened to the public for all folks to be able to dine, whether you're a party of 1 or 100.
So who comes here? People from all over the country? People from surrounding counties?
Well, we get some local folks, but we rely heavily on I call them the Villes and the Bergs, because they're from everywhere, all those surrounding counties, northern Tennessee. We had some folks this weekend from Mount Juliet, some from Princeton, Kentucky. We get Louisville folks. So Facebook allows us to get out there and find a lot of folks. And we really rely on those outlying counties for our business.
So when these people come from all over, what do you hear most often?
Well, we often hear, wow, this is just like eating at home. This is like going to grandma's
okay.
house. This is so cool, you know. Of course, we do the family style meal where it literally is like you're eating at home. And but they love the old house. They love the charm and the history. And I have to tell that history story a whole lot to folks because they're very interested and intrigued by it. So they like that tie-in. So if you can kind of go and have a meal somewhere, it's a nice, relaxed place. It's away from the hustle and bustle of cities, and I think it's a real lure. It's a rare thing these days. I think people are discovering that. So.
You have internet, or you don't let people use their phones here?
Well, I guess we should have heard someone say earlier that they actually turned their Wi-Fi off, but no, we have lots of demand for Wi-Fi.
Gotcha.
So I guess when they're out here, especially when they're done eating, they go out and hang out on the patio. Everybody wants to catch up on their social media.
And take pictures.
And tag us and all that good stuff. That's right. So,
of course.
yeah.
And before we get away from this coffee near me,
Yeah.
you came into this, okay, bed and breakfast, restaurant, but then you wanted to give give back in a more profound way.
Yeah.
And you found a way to do that.
Yeah, well, you know, something local, we were thinking about what else can we do. We got into the maple syrup business about 10 years ago, and that has been something that's kind of become a unique thing for us here. Production of something that's probably was done here many, many years ago, but it's kind of bringing back that historical tie. We know the Shakers produce maple syrup, but something for the local folks to have. We have a lot of local gift baskets. Our product ends up going out there, but that tie into history, tie into something made with your hands, and a very sweet product that everyone loves to pour with pancakes and put in recipes like banana cake and things like that.
Yeah. Lee Blythe, we'll talk some more about your maple syrup
Sure,
production
that'd
in
be awesome.
another episode of Coffee Near Me. Thank you
That'd
for
be
letting us
awesome.
come crash here at Federal
Well,
Grove.
enjoyed it. Good
Thank
having
you.
you guys.
Cheers.
Indeed.
Cheers.
Cheers.